Guys, listen, I am always so ridiculously honest when I say, please do better than me, right? Do better than me. Just because I feel like I know a little bit better about what I should do or should have done doesn't mean I did that in the past, right? I think it's funny because people will say or comment like, oh, some things are just too basic. Like, why are we going over that? Do you think we as individuals or as a country would be in the positions we're in financially if we actually were educated on some of just the basic things we could have done? Pitfalls we could have avoided? Probably not. So you know what? I'm going to let you learn from mistakes that I made in my early 20s because no, I'm not 20. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not 20, okay? I'm 31, which means you look back and think, damn, I should have done better. So for young adults watching, learn from my pitfalls, do better. And yeah, you absolutely heard me opening another Red Bull. It's still one of those weeks.
I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see. Yeah. These days I don't worry about much. I think we should have some more fun. I still dream about the days when we were young. I'll take the hit and still finish and run.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl TJ back with another video. Talks with TJ, aka TJ Two Shoes Chains, and yeah, I'm telling on myself this video. So if you're brand new, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I truly appreciate it. Two Shoes crew, go ahead and engage. Comment down below. You know, did you make any of these just bad decisions in your 20s, right? And it's not to say that, oh my God, like I regret everything about my 20s. No, absolutely not. But when you're in the moment living, you know, you don't always think, oh, I should do this, right? Like we know that there are opportunity costs for everything, or you should know. If you don't know, whatever choice you make, there's always something else you could have done. And of course, then you have to weigh the pros and the cons of those other choices. And I think you have to then make whatever is best for you at the time. Again, you have to take into consideration like context, life experiences, like what you may be going through at the time. How is life set up for you, right? Like it may be totally different for you versus other people. And that's what I try to communicate to you guys often. Like, first off, anything I say is not rule, it's not law. And I always say like, what the hell do I know, right? I'm just somebody up here talking just like any of you could do. But I do understand that my life is not really indicative to yours, right? Like there are certain things some of you will deal with that I will not, right? Like having to account for kids and different things like that. That's not something I have to do. I'm not having kids. That's not me. So for you, life will be different. So you have to take everything into context for your life. But if I can help with anything I've learned over the years, then I will absolutely do that. So that's what we're jumping into this video. Again, more of these videos are not necessarily showing you a shoe that doesn't have a shoe. There will be shoes on here, but life is about more than shoes. So if this hits home for somebody, awesome. So I will try to break these down really, really quick. They are relative to other topics I've talked about on my channel before, right? Like some of the things you're going to think back like, man, she made videos on this. So now I understand why. All right. So hopefully it all comes around full circle, but let's just dive into the money mistakes I made in my 20s. This was a big mistake, right? A really big mistake. So I am done with, I'm out of college. Actually, I was finishing up graduate school, right? So I was finishing up graduate school and you get like your first real adult job, right? You sit down with HR, they're laying everything out for you, the benefits, right? Like, listen, I was off my mom's health insurance really early, like age 21. I was off my mom's health insurance, okay? So I've been a pretty independent person for a minute. And you know, they sit you down and they let you know these are the retirement packages. This is what the company may choose to match or offer. Biggest mistake number one I made was not fully maxing out my 401k. Immediately, that was my biggest mistake. And I'll be sure to put up here as well, like what the limit is that you can allocate to your 401k every single year. I know those ranges have changed, I guess, over the years since I was 21, but that was the biggest mistake I made because day one, I should have maxed it out. Like in terms of what they're going to match, at least what they will match. I should have maxed that out without hesitation. And you don't do it at first because you know why? Maybe no one's like driving that home to you of just how important it is. If you do that, then you're in such a better position later on. Like right now at 31, my retirement portfolio would be way better than what it is right now had I just done that. So that is number one, okay? When you walk into that job, the first day, first real adult career job, whatever, figure out what the match is and max that out. And then push yourself to be in a position to max out what the actual government will allow you to allocate towards your retirement every single year. Just please do that. And then the second thing, this is still leading to retirement because it is on current you to take care of future you. And I know just future me is going to look back like, wow, TJ, like you couldn't have done any better for us, but I'm going to make up for it. But I should have also just opened a Roth IRA immediately and started to invest in that. Now, well, I'll go over that, I guess, a little bit differently and like a simple way to break it down, but there are usually two ways you can choose to invest in index funds. And listen, I'm a boring type of person or investor. Like I'll do the same thing over and over and over again. It's getting me the results. Like, what is the streamlined way to do something that gets the results you want? I'm not somebody that's like, yeah, I want to play the market. And no, listen, I will just invest in the indexes and let them do their thing. Trust me, they outperform most of the people that choose to go trading as if they are real experts in what they're doing. At least that's how I think about it. So I would have just initially decided to invest in probably more index ETF shares. And why? Because there's usually a minimum buy-in to a lot of index funds of like $3,000. So if at any time you don't have like that minimum, you can still buy, like invest in the ETFs of these index funds. It gets you the same thing. But yeah, Roth IRA account. TJ, what were you thinking? This one's painful. It's painful because eBay is Bay next to Klay Thompson. eBay is Bay. And you guys may think that like, oh, she buys a lot off eBay. Listen, it is nothing compared to the volume of which I purchased on eBay in the past. But I got caught up in oh, it's a deal. Right? And we can do that now. Like, if you think about it, like it's very similar to what I was doing back in the day. It's very similar to you live close to an outlet and you can go and you can pick up all of these things like marked down 70 to 80% if they're amazing deals. But I'm looking back now, I don't have half of those things. I probably don't have 70% of those things anymore. Now, granted, your style can change. The size that you wear can change, right? You go from wearing extra smalls to mediums, or just the style of what you're into changes. You find something else that you love the fit, you love the cut. So you would rather spend your money on a lot of colors of that item versus previous things you have. Nothing wrong with that. That's a real reality. That's a real thing that happens. And I'm partly going through it now with my closet. Like you guys see all the tones back there. But I don't have half of those things, right? I just got hung up on the fact that it's a deal, but you don't realize how those deals add up, right? So yeah, you're spending $10, $12, $15 here. And then you look back and you think, I probably could have just honed in on what I needed most, or what should I have spent my money on most. And a lot of mine was just workout stuff, but like truth, you always have those favorite pieces that you just go back to. I could have just invested in better quality pieces then. I don't care, even if they were Nike, not just, oh, I want to have all of these different options. And like, I don't even own all those options anymore. So deals are great, but just remember, like, the deals can be a catch-22 because you get wrapped up in those and you don't realize how much you could spend or you could be spending. Just do better with the deals than I did. This is not a knock at Dave Ramsey because I think the man has some great teachings. I definitely don't agree with everything that he has to say, but I think he's got some great teachings, makes some great points. To me, Dave Ramsey is truly, though, like the starter, like entry level of how to take control of your income. And then I think it's great to branch out. Like, I would really advise people to branch out beyond that and look at other people. Like, no joke, there was one year, I forget which year, but I read like close to 14 financial books. Just because you get somebody else's perspective on budgeting and entry-level investing, and you find out that, like, I can pick and choose from all these different people, and this is what works best for me. So, not to say that Dave Ramsey is not, great and really being a Kickstarter for people to, first off, get an emergency fund, because there are so many people in this country that could not cover $1,000 emergency if it happened right now. Truly, go ask them about what happened with the pandemic. They couldn't do it. So, it's great there. Understanding how the psychology behind tackling your debt smallest to largest gives you that boost of confidence. And now you've paid off something and now you can continue to pay off things. It's great. But let me tell you what I kick myself for in my 20s. Not focusing simultaneously on saving as much as I was paying off debt. Right? Like there were times where I was so laser focused, like gotta pay this off, gotta pay this off, gotta pay this off, that you probably put yourself at greater risk because you are saving a lower percentage than what you're paying towards student debt. And I'm not saying it needs to match up, right? Like I'm paying a much higher percentage of my take-home pay every month right now towards student debt to get it paid off, even than I am saving. Now, the savings rate is still at a decent rate, and it will increase drastically once the debt is paid off, but the ratio could have been better, right? Like what I was paying towards debt probably could have been lowered some so that the savings was up there more. So that's just something like, don't become so hyper focused on one thing that you put yourself at risk if something happens. Like I know that may be a fear, like, oh my God, I can't go against like Dave Ramsey's teaching. First off, do you, okay? This is your life. You know what's up. I think a lot of people learned in this pandemic, $1,000 is not going to cut it. I am a single person and don't have kids to worry about, and $1,000 would not cut it for me, okay? So take care of yourself in all ways. It may take a little bit more discipline, but do a little bit at a time. At least that's what I would say. And I guess this one goes back to maybe like the pandemic really bringing it all home. So not that I've ever been someone to travel a lot, go a lot of places. I realize now that is something I want to do, especially because I have the freedom to do that, unlike a lot of people do. Just because like if you have kids, like kids first off dictate everything that you were doing, and you trying to like pull them out of school to go here or there is not always easy, right? It's not realistic, but the reality is I look back and I'm thinking, okay, in your 20s, for all of the things you were buying for yourself, could you have instead went and experienced more out there? Yes, could have. And now when you look, you're like, man, sports aren't even the same anymore, right? Concerts, who knows if those will ever be a real thing. And I could have experienced all of those at a much greater rate than what I ever did. So that is, I kick myself for that, especially in my 20s. I kick myself for that, right? For the memories you have. I think now, you know, I've seen this said, but you know, for all the things that you're buying, like you have enough things, go take the current things you have places, go experience life with the current things you have. And so I kick myself for that. I really wish I would have done that. A lot of that is out of my control now with the pandemic. And like, listen, I have zero desire to just jump myself into a major crowd of people right now, even if this is like the healthiest I have been in a long time. Like truly, this is the healthiest I've been in a very long time, but I still want to go, right? Like I kick myself all the time. I'm upset all the time. Why didn't you take advantage of seeing Derek Jeter more, you know, closer, you know, to, you know, whenever he played like in Detroit? Like, why didn't you just make the trip back home to visit family and then also go watch him play whenever he played the Tigers? One of life's biggest regrets, truly. So listen, these are direct. These are all 100% money mistakes I feel like I made in my 20s. Now, did any of them set me back so much that I'm not able to take care of myself, provide for myself? No, absolutely not. Like I do just fine for myself without assistance, without anything. Always making sure I help out mom, kick money to her whenever I possibly can. So, and I'm setting myself up for the things I know that I want to do, right? And I'll, I guess, communicate some of those or share some of those with you as they unravel. But just do better than what I did and do better than what a lot of people around you, right? Like if you have someone that you admire for whatever it is that they're doing, first off, try to learn from them based on what they're doing today, but also just inquire, like, what would you have done differently? And from the lessons that they tell you they learned from, take those to heart and apply them to your own life before you even hit those pitfalls. All right. So thanks for tuning in to this very, very like non-sneaker related content. I appreciate it. So as always, everybody, act your age, not your shoe size. Do better than I did. Peace out.